Are we live? Oh, yeah. Sorry, we're live. As usual, I'm completely behind the scenes. Yeah, so hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of what has now become Carnivore Sunday School. This is actually our 24th episode. Woo! And yeah, exactly. And that is unbroken as well, every Sunday since the 15th of June. And as we are now the 16th of November, we are Sunday the 16th of November because one of my very clever American friends pointed out that the thumbnail says Saturday the 16th of November, but it is in fact Sunday the 16th of November. And we've been going since Sunday the 15th of June. So that actually marks a 5-month history point. So for those of you who weren't with us from the start, which I know is probably going to be most of you, a little bit of history on the very first one. Now, if I'll go back before that, the idea was born when John invited me for a second interview with him, just one of those recorded normal interviews, one of the sensible ones. But we kind of batted a few emails back across the Atlantic, and we came up with the idea of a panel show, which would be school, because we are both qualified teachers. And we came up with what was then called Sunday School Carnivore, which is now Carnivore Sunday School. Just to point out the fact that John, who is not with us tonight because he's gallivanting at Hack Your Health down in Tampa Bay, is
that where he is?
He is, absolutely. Oh. And he sent me some photographs. He's been hanging out with some serious people, believe me. As has our great friend Lewis Lotito, who sent me a load just before we came, including the likes of Kerry Mann, Dr. Kiltzis. Now he's basically showing off his Lewis, but anyway, so that's beside the point. Yeah, so on the 15th of June, we had our very first Sunday School Carnivore. And our guest was, in fact, the lovely Stephanie, who is with us tonight. She came on as a guest, and then for a couple of episodes afterwards, John and myself decided to run it by ourselves. And then Steph came back on as a guest again, and we suddenly realised that really the school really couldn't do without us. So John, as the principal or headmaster in this country, actually appointed her as the school secretary. So ever since then, she has basically taken over, is now responsible for all the bookings, all the admin, and all of the technical side of things. She has just horrified me by saying that neither she nor John might be here on November the 30th, in which case I, the techno idiot, will be left in charge of the technical side of things. So anything might happen on that particular occasion.
We're definitely tuning in for that one.
Exactly. But in fact, my brain is in overtime, and I suddenly realised that my guest that night is actually a technical whiz kid and an engineer. So we might have to ask our guest to run the technical side of things, but we shall see. Anyway, where was I? Okay, yeah. So we have John as the principal, who is a retired middle school teacher. I am a qualified TESOL teacher. I am in adult education, and I can actually teach English to speakers of other languages. A skill which I've seldom used. However, it has to be in good stead when it comes to methods of teaching and all that sort of thing. So those of you who don't know my backstory, I'm a former type 2 diabetic, former morbidly obese, very metabolically unwell person who has dropped from 293 pounds down to 176 as of this morning. I did see 168 back in the summer. Waist gone from 44 inches down to 34 inches, and my type 2 diabetes is a long since history. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of who we are, where we come from. Before I introduce our wonderful guest tonight, who is the lovely, irrepressible Joe Archer from Nottingham in the UK, where the oldest pub in England is, the old Trip to Jerusalem. Joe knows my backstory of the old trip.
Yes, I do indeed.
Absolutely. And but first, I'm going to hand you over to the school secretary, who is the lovely Stephanie Taylor, to introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's great to see you here. I'm loving that the comments are blowing up. And I have to give kudos to Carnivore Muscle, Jonathan, who was the first to comment. And he put his comment in as first. Yes, as always, Jonathan, you are first. And it's lovely to have you all with us. And I can see lots of new faces as well. And maybe some of you have come to see Joe. So I'm Stephanie, and I have, like George, transformed my health through the carnivore diet. I was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer a couple of years ago, and it would have been, I don't want to say a death sentence, but certainly the outlook didn't look too good. But through Carnivore, I'm absolutely feeling amazing. I've started traveling. I'm at the moment on a month in Cyprus, which I've never been away for this long before. And it's just opened my eyes to everything that's possible. So Carnivore changed my life and my health. And now it's opened up the world in a different way that I just see, instead of spending my winters in the UK at 4 degrees, I could go to lots of different places. I know this has always been a possibility, but it's like I've only just seen it. And so I'm very excited about that and excited to be here tonight. Now, you might see me looking down like this quite a bit because I'm going to be replying to you in the comments, and I've got my phone to hand to do so. All right. Over to you. I'll go back to you, George.
Yeah, absolutely. Firstly, can I say thanks to all of Joe's regulars on her lives who come to visit tonight. I've met JC, Calamity Jane, before in the past, and we got Himani in here as well, and Hajareen. So this is great to see you guys, because I do visit Joe's channel occasionally when I find the time. Just to say that what we got tonight is a meeting of the Carnivore community and the GLP-1 Mounjaro community. Both of us are after the same long-term results, health results, and I know that there is some skepticism about GLP-1s and Ozempic, Mounjaro, and Wegovy, but Joe is living proof that you can actually have success on the GLP-1s. Especially, I think, as we're going to find out, if you can actually adopt the low carb approach as well. So, but I'm going to let Joe tell that story because it is her story to tell. So, Joe, I've known you for a couple of months now. I don't know your full history. So, starting right from the beginning, let's have the history.
Right from the beginning.
Yeah, if necessary.
I was born on a Wednesday.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm a Wednesday's child, full of grace.
I take it you got a full memory of that.
Oh yes, it was a very memorable day.
Yeah.
Well, for those of you who don't know me, I'd like to introduce myself. Hey, it's me, Joe, from Joe's Sleep and Slim Down Journey, and I'm really excited to be here. I am a hypercarnivore. Is that right, George? You said that I was a hypercarnivore?
Yeah, the plate you described was a plate full of meat with a couple of green veg on the side. Was it a pepper and a zucchini or a courgette, I think, or something like that? Yeah. So yes, that puts you firmly in the hypercarnivore bracket, because more than 70% of that plate was in fact meat. So yeah, definitely hypercarnivore.
I'm very happy with that label, and I'm wearing it proudly. And I'm wearing it very proudly in the GLP-1 streets, because in our community, we're all really focusing on prioritizing protein. So that's why it makes perfect sense that our two communities should cross-pollinate, because we see the significance of protein in our ongoing health transformation. Am I saying that right? Transformation, yeah. And then continued health journeys. The reason why I may not be saying it right, full disclosure, as a hypercarnivore, I am struggling with a fibromyalgia flare-up. I'm trying to fight it off, but I'm really tired. So guess what I did? I can't believe I'm doing it. It's Sunday school. I have to confess. I had a little packet of sweets and love hearts. I thought I needed some instant energy, and I cannot believe I've done it on Carnivore Sunday School.
But the only question is, Joe, are they the ones with the little bits of writing on them?
Yes.
So did you get the message that you were hoping for, that he's just around the corner and he's going to be absolutely fabulous?
George, my energy was so low, I didn't have time to read the messages. I just shoved them all in. But then I'm hoping that after the live, I'm going to go check out my doors and see if the one is out there. But yes, I am a hypercarnivore, we're saying that, but I'm also on a GLP-1. And the GLP-1 that I'm on, because I'm in the UK, I'm on Mounjaro. So in the US, they have Zepbound and Mounjaro, which is the tirzepatide. And that's because, as JC Calamity Jane said, she's in the chat, I know she's in the chat, but she said last week in another live chat that was in, Well, in America, we like to get our money's worth. So why not have one drug that is purposely promoted just as a weight loss drug? And that is the Zepbound. And the Mounjaro has been offered for people with sleep apnea, maybe with struggling with their type 2 diabetes. So in the US, they do have the two, but it's ultimately the same drug. It's tirzepatide. And that's what we have. Himani from Mounjaro Journey, India. She is actually in Delhi, India, and she's also on Mounjaro because that's what they do, the same thing as what we do in the UK. And I have lost, drum roll please. I started on April the 4th at 351 pounds, and I'm now 97 pound lighter. Someone's going to have to do the math. Someone's going to have to do the math because I cannot do the math.
So wow. what were you, Joe?
351.
So it's 251 plus 3. So you're down to 254. We can.
Thank you, George. Thank you. Right, math lesson is in full effect. But yeah, so that was just my little intro to who I am. But I'm really excited to be on here today because I've been watching you guys for the last couple of months now, and obviously Steph is my twin.
Yes, exactly.
We are twins, yes.
Yeah, our great friend Carl of the Primal Lifestyle was just pointing out that I'm the odd one out here without the hair. So there we go. I very rarely do that, but that's the reason why I wear a kit, because I am what you might call follically challenged. So yes, I can quite understand that. Yeah, so just one quick one to point out, Joe, and that is you're very nearly in the 100-pound club, which includes myself and some famous other people, such as Kerry Mann of Healing Humanity. He's in the 100-pound club, obviously, and our great friend Papa Carnivore, who sometimes comes in here, but I think he's busy this weekend. And not to mention, of course, the likes of Bill Knott and Limitless Lindy, who drops it over 300 pounds, I think.
Wowzers!
So, yeah, exactly. So it's a question of how much you've got to lose. I had 120 pounds to lose, and I achieved it. And I presume you're planning on I know you want. I know you've got. Yeah, exactly. I know you've got a goal in mind, and that's we are having the Great British Meetup on June the 13th next year. Yes. And it is your intention to hit that dance floor without the help of your walking cane, I believe.
That's right. Yeah. So Michael can attend, but he's not coming on the dance floor with me on the 13th of June next year. So that is my big goal, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait to be part of the Great British Meetup, meet all the different carnivores across the UK, and ketos and low carb, people who just really like protein and really are finding the health benefits from eating this way.
Absolutely. And don't forget that it's not just across the UK next year, because I can guarantee that we have several American visitors coming to us. I am delighted to say that our great friend Coach Juliet is coming with her husband Doug, and Dr. Kiltz has promised me to be visiting. And also the wonderful Angela Lero from Los Angeles. She has said she will be here as well. Dr. Nelson says he would like to come next year, but he's not quite sure yet. So we're going to have some great, and we already have one connection in Atlanta, Mark Caldwell, who was with us last year. So, yeah, we are going to have a truly international meetup this year. No question.
We're going to have somebody from Cyprus, George, because I met a fabulous woman, Eftihia,
that's right,
from Cyprus, and met up with her. She's from the Facebook group, the World Carnivore Tribe. And I put a message saying, oh, is anybody in Cyprus? And she has replied, and we met up. We had the most fabulous time. She's now going to go on to No Carb Life and tell her story. She's already recorded with me to come on my channel. And she's just a fantastic woman. And she and her son, he's also carnivore. He was very proud of the fact that he has steak and eggs for breakfast. And he's 14. And they're going to be coming, hopefully, to the Great British Meetup as well.
Oh, that's pretty
wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm doing the follow-up course on Dr. Kiltz's coaching course, and we do have one lady from the Netherlands, Marlene, I think her name is, and also we have Thierry from France, who are both talking about coming over for it as well, because they don't have their own meetups, but of course it's just across the channel.
Yeah.
So we could have a truly international. We're calling it a Great British Meetup, but it could be a bit of an international meetup next year.
I love it.
I'm so looking forward to meeting you, Joe. It's going to be. Steph and I have already met, and we know each other of old, but it'll be nice to meet you for the first time.
There's going to be couples all around, especially for Lainey.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Lainey will be on the dance floor as well, so that'll be great fun. I'll be watching from the sideline because my knees don't allow me to do it anymore. Plus the fact that I could never dance in the first place anyway. Right, and anyway, Joe. So back to your story. So April the 4th, I believe that you actually you started it. Yeah. So tell us. Was there a decline, a gradual decline? How did you get into the state? What was the state you were in, apart from the fact we know you were 351 pounds? So what was did you have any other health issues? How did you get there? Tell us the backstory.
Okay. So in 2014, I was diagnosed officially with IBS, the element that makes you run to the toilet and spend a long time on the loo. So it was that version. And I went to see a FODMAP dietitian from the NHS. And we found out that the majority of complex carbs were actually causing me the need to rush off and spend 2 days in the toilet. So from that point on, all of those complex carbs that were affecting me, they were out of my diet. And I was hoping that was the end of it. And it kind of was, because I was managing my IBS by managing what foods I was eating. But also back in 2003, I did the original Atkins and loved it. So I was like, well, I could just do Atkins again. So this is going to be great. I liked having a body. I called myself the Black Jessica Rabbit, but maybe I was more like that hippo from Madagascar. But I was all curves. And I thought, you know what? I want to stay all curves. So I don't want to get down to a BMI that is considered normal. I just want to be strong. I want to be healthy. And I want to be juicy. And so that was my plan. Then it turned out the end of 2017 found out that I'd got the hypertension. And my family from St. Lucia in the Caribbean, they all suffer with hypertension and get it early. So I'm like, oh my goodness, I've got it. Now what do we do? And so they did some tests. I'll come back to the tests in a little while. I don't know why I'm still waving this sparkly thing around, because it's nothing to celebrate. But anyway, I'll put that down. So anyway, I had the test in 2018 and was put on hypertensives. So now I've got hypertension and I've got IBS, but I managed them. There was no salt in my diet anyway, so I was having salt through just the foods that you eat, and like the potassium that's in the cucumber, that sort of thing. Anyway, along comes COVID. COVID hit me for 6. And when I started recovering from COVID, I wasn't fully recovering from COVID. And I know that Himani, who was in the chat at the moment, she has a similar story that also impacted her with after having a COVID bout. So for me, it started with chronic kidney disease. And that officially got diagnosed in April 2021. But I was still having problems. And George, well, both of you, I'm saying both of you. Steph, you're in Wales, so you've got a slightly different NHS system over there. But for us in England, NHS England, so they said to me, well, you're not quite at stage 3, so we're not going to do anything until you get to stage 3. And so when your kidneys really start to fail, then that's when we're going to investigate it further. Right. They're like, oh, right. So I've got to do more of the things that I can to make sure I'm well. So again, I was making sure that I was eating all of my high fiber, low carb, but certainly whole foods. Okay, so then I was continuing and I was still getting unwell and the weight was banging on me. And I'm like, this is not because of what I'm eating, because I'm eating all the things that I'm supposed to do and the things that I know don't affect my body. And so, as you say, the high fiber that was taken was the high fiber supplements and then much more veg on my plate. Then I got to see a rheumatology consultant because my fibromyalgia was then diagnosed, but they thought at the time I'd got an autoimmune condition. And they didn't get a diagnosis for that yet, but certainly diagnosed with my fibromyalgia and Raynaud's and fatty liver disease. Fatty liver, I'm thinking, how can that be? I don't take carbs, because I know, you and me, we all know that carbs is part of this problem for increasing the glucose that's in your system and therefore the fatty liver. And so I was like, well, how can that be? So they put me on a statin. I'm still on a statin. I'm on those hypertensives. And at that point, I was still getting much more veg in my diet. But then thankfully, the rheumatology consultant, she said, Jo, I think you are struggling. You will continue to struggle until you get well. But one thing you would benefit from is, because I was saying I was struggling to cut into salad bags or cut into cucumber because of the fibromyalgia. She says, if you can only eat one meal a day, that's brilliant, because we very much recommend, she says, I very much recommend intermittent fasting. She didn't say why, because she's from the NHS. So she's not saying why, but you can tell from my brown ring on my neck, what she's meaning is insulin resistance. So then I'm doing right. So now I'm doing low carb, which would still now be hypercarnivore. I'm now doing 1,400 calories. I'm eating one meal a day. I'm on a statin, I'm on hypertensives, and yet still my hypertension's going out of control. My weight is just increasing. I'm becoming less mobile, less dexterous. I'm no longer contributing to society because I can't do anything. I'm not able to be a part of the family because they just weren't seeing this personality. They weren't seeing me because I didn't have any energy, and not a single packet of love hearts passed my lips because I was so adamant that I'm not going to take any more carbs. Well, then, thankfully, in September of 2024, after now being diagnosed as well with asthma, maybe COPD, and my lungs were really struggling as well now as my liver and my kidneys, then I was seen by an asthma clinic nurse, and she says, I think you might have sleep apnea. So that was in June, and I got an appointment in the NHS in September. And in Nottingham, there was only one sleep specialist. So I didn't get my results until April the 4th. And on April the 4th, that's when we found out that I would stop breathing every 45 seconds in the night. And that's why my heart was stopping beating in the night. That's why I was on my deathbed. I knew I was on my deathbed. I live on my own, me and Miss Mary. And I knew that something was very, very wrong. And every time I went up to bed, I didn't think I'd wake. I didn't think I'd get out of it. And who's going to look after Miss Mary? Well, thankfully, on April the 4th, I got my appointment again with a consultant to tell me that I've got a severe sleep apnea, gave me Colin the CPAP machine, but then I came home and also my Mounjaro. I started paying for it privately, been trying to get hold of it since December, finally got it on April the 4th, and that was the start of the rest of my life. Or you're on mute.
I keep on forgetting that, but there we go. Yeah, so April the 4th is obviously a key date for you, just as March the 1st of 2022 was for me, was when I got my disastrous blood test. Now, did the NHS discuss with you the possibility of prescribing you one of the GLP-1s, such as Ozempic or Mounjaro or Wegovy, or did they not mention it at all?
Great question, George. So I actually saw a friend of mine. I've known him, he's the same age as me. We used to work in the nightclubs back in the day, back in the 90s. And he's now married to my best friend. So I noticed he's been weight's going on and on and on like this. He suffers with his digestive health and was suffering with sleep. And then he picked me up one day it was just before Christmas. So I was going to go to their house and exchange Christmas gifts. And I genuinely thought that was going to be the last time I saw them. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Anyway, he got out of the car. I don't know, it was his wife who picked me up. And then so he came over and I'm like, Richard, where are you? Where are you? So I gave him a big hug. Where did you go? And he said, I've lost 4 stone in 4 months on this product called Mounjaro. Yeah. And I said, oh, what, the fat jab or the skinny jab? Because that's what we've been told it is in the press, haven't we? We've been told negative connotations. And Emma went, Joe, his sleep has become amazing. I'm not hearing him snoring. I'm not hearing him gasp for breath in the night. So I was like, well, this is something I need to get on. So it wasn't necessarily because I knew that, hold on, I'm saying I knew. A year after I'd seen the rheumatologist, I said, I'm doing all the things that you told me to do, and yet I'm still putting on weight. And she said, Joe, until your body is well, you will continue to put on weight. And of course, she's meaning cortisol, isn't she?
Yeah.
So anyway, it wasn't the weight for me that was the big priority. It was life and being able to live and being able to sleep and getting a full night's sleep. So he'd said that he was getting the sleep and it just happens to be losing this weight as well. So I was like, right, well, I'm getting on it. He'd said he'd not had a single IBS instance since he'd been on it. So anyway, so I was like, right, that's what I'm going to be on. So I spoke to my nurse in January after trying to apply to get hold of it privately and saying I've got to go through the process. She spoke to the GP and the GP said, yes, let's get her for tier 3 weight management because I was so heavy and met the criteria. But in Nottingham, they came back with a response that they're not funding the GLP-1s, but if I wanted to have bariatric surgery, I could be on the 1-year waiting list. And I knew I didn't have a year. So that was why, again, that's why I was really pushing to get it privately. Oh, the other way.
Yeah, the other way. Thank you. Yeah, once again, a quick question, Joe. Now, you've got it privately. Is that through a pharmacy, a registered pharmacist? Yeah.
Yes.
So it is kind of, it's not like you're buying it sort of from, the, here, do you want to buy some, Mounjaro? So exactly. So it kind of is above board because obviously I bet there's a black market for it out there. I haven't done any research. Yeah. So can you tell us about that? We'll forget about the doctors now. We'll talk about the difference between a qualified pharmacist and a backstreet black market seller. Can you give a warning about the black market as well?
100%. This is something I'm getting chills now thinking about it. In the UK, you can get, if you've got a BMI of over 25, I think initially it's 30 so that you can start losing the weight, and then 25 to maintain the weight loss. You can get a consultation with a private pharmacist who then speaks with your care team at the GP surgery and make sure that you're a suitable candidate for the medication. That's the way it should be done. And you're paying for it. You're not doing it really to lose weight. You're doing it for the health transformation that losing weight gives you.
Yeah.
So I do not understand those people who are buying it because some fella on Instagram has offered them it, and they're not registered. They're not a pharmacist. They don't know anything about you. They don't know what medication you're on. You don't know what medication they're giving you. Somebody told me the other day that they were paying £150 for something that they got off TikTok.
Yeah.
Why? What is this? What is this that you're putting in your body? Do it. Yeah. If you're wanting to make yourself healthier, if your NHS provider is not funding it for you yet, and they will, it's going to be funded within 3 years. Tier 3 first, then tier 2, then tier 1. If you can't do it that way, but you are able to pay for it, do it with the pharmacists who are still working with your GP to make sure that it's the right thing for you and your body and your health needs.
Okay. Yeah, this is interesting because before I met you, Joe, I actually met you a few weeks ago on Cindy DeManche's live. That's where we actually first met, and then we've obviously developed our friendship since then. But before I met you, one little secret, little full disclosure here, I go to a beautician every 3 months. I go and get a male pedicure because I've previously I spent most of my life in working boots, both as a soldier and on the construction site, and my feet are a mess. There's no question about that. They've got a lot better since Carnivore. She's confirmed that. But her name is Deb. She's a wonderful lady. But she was a rather large lady when I first started seeing her about 2 years ago. And then she knew my story, and she was quite impressed with, as you know, I take any opportunity to spread the word.
Yes.
And then I noticed that she was starting to look a lot better as well. So I said, "Oh, have you, followed my advice and cut out and gone low carb?" She said, "No, George, I'm on Mounjaro through the same route as you, the pharmacist." And she was looking incredibly healthy. I said, "Well, how do you eat?" She said, "I'm low carb." She said, "I have listened to you as regards that." And then the last time I saw Deb, she was again looking fantastic. I said, "Are you still on that Mounjaro?" She said, "No, I've now transitioned away from Mounjaro." I said, she said, "I'm now maintaining." And she said, "I'm maintaining through low carb." So that was a great story of using Mounjaro as a kickstart to get into, to actually achieve the results, but then maintaining through low carb. Now, I don't know if I bet people have asked this before. Are you planning to transition, or do you think that the Mounjaro is with you for life now? It's, is it something you want to hold on to, or do you think you will eventually transition to a maintenance regime?
Certainly, I'm going to go to maintenance level, but at the moment, and this is the big thing that we're saying. So again, I can see lots of people from the GLP-1 community. We're now real big advocates for not titrating up unless you absolutely have to. So I'm still on a medium dose. I'm still on 7.5, which I take as a 3.75 every 4 days. So my 7.5 now lasts me for 8, maybe 9 days. So, and then my aim is going to be that when I get to the goal and see you on the dance floor, then I'm going to be titrating down. If I don't need it, I don't need it. But if I need it, I'm going to stay on a 2.5. And the reason why I'm saying that is because of all of those other issues that I have in my body, where the problems that I've got, the chronic inflammation, but it's also the hormone imbalance of it all. The whole point of GLP-1 works is because your body, some of us do not provide enough GLP-1 in our system, or a GIP in our system naturally, that many people normally have in their system. So in order to stop any of my health health conditions worsening again, I'm going to see what it's like when I'm getting at 2.5. So that takes me very nicely onto that next point. You know, the bit that I said, I don't know why I'm shaking this about. Can you remember me mentioning in 2018, 17, 18, I'd been diagnosed with that hypertension that so many of the Caribbean folk have, or everyone on St. Lucia, majority of people in St. Lucia, once they hit their 30s, 40s, they're getting hypertension. Well, I had a 24-hour urine collection that's done. Most people who get hypertension, they have to do this for the first time. 24-hour urine collection, because they want to see if there's any aldosterone that's coming out into your water, because there was already blood and protein, but is there some aldosterone, and is there some of epinephrine, which of course is adrenaline, isn't it? Well, I had my results and it was high, but they said that's all right, because in the Afro-Caribbean community, most people have high aldosterone and high adrenaline in their water, so we don't need to do anything. But we're of course the ones who, we get the kidney failure, there's no organ available for us, and we're the ones that have the worst outcomes the fatality outcomes through these sort of issues. So anyway, I've now got problems in my heart. I've now got a heart monitor in there called Heart Garfunkel. And he's monitoring my heart because there's a problem with my heart. We're still trying to get to the bottom of what the problem is. I'm on that NHS waiting list. But I'm trying to get the referral for the hypertension specialist because my GP recognises that my hypertension is still out of control. And I've got such high resting heart rate that we can't get the echocardiograms to come back clearly. So they wrote back and said, oh, she's probably got primary aldosteronism. We found back in 2018 she had this high rate, but we didn't do anything about, well, they didn't say we didn't do anything about it. They said, so we'll put her on the waiting list and we'll get a workup to see if she's got primary aldosteronism. But it turns out uncontrolled or untreated primary aldosteronism will impact your kidneys, your liver, your lungs, and your heart, and your muscles, because maybe my fibromyalgia isn't fibromyalgia. Maybe it's the response to the primary aldosteronism that then causes fibromyalgia. And so I'm now on an 18-month waiting list to be seen whether I've got primary aldosteronism when they kind of already know I do. So maybe once that gets sorted, if that because aldosterone is a hormone, if that hormone balances out all the other hormones, I might not need to be on Mounjaro ever again. But I will need to stay on a CPAP machine because my sleep doctor said the reason why I have sleep apnea, it's not because of the weight on my neck. It's something to do with my tongue and the makeup of my musculoskeletal system around here. I don't know. I was just glad I was getting a CPAP machine.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, what was I was going to say something. Oh, yeah, talking about the British NHS, you say about the waiting list. Here's a story of two nations. I have a great friend over in the US of A, Amy Davis, who is rocking coach Amy.
Yes.
She actually messaged us just before coming on tonight. She said, I've got to go and spend some time with my poor long-suffering husband. So she's not actually in the group tonight. She's
going to catch up on the replay.
Exactly right. Yeah. So anyway, so Amy is a hernia sufferer, an inguinal hernia sufferer, as am I. I was referred by my doctor because it had become quite serious on September the 3rd. I shortly afterwards got a message from our wonderful NHS saying, basically, you can go away because we are so busy that you will be waiting at least 6 months, not 6 months, but at least 6 months.
At least.
Exactly. So, and they said, if we got any updates, we'll let you know. But I was dismissed, basically. My doctor's very worried.
Hernia?
Yeah, it's inguinal hernia, which has grown and which is spread into that part of my body, which is quite delicate, shall we say? Which is,
yes.
I won't use the word the doctor because it was a bit technical, but it was basically my groin area. It's basically, it burns quite a lot and it's painful quite a lot. And it is infringing upon my life, certainly in many ways, but I put up with it because it's what we're trained to do. It's what we have to do in the UK, as you well know, Joe. But by contrast, Amy apparently, when she was diagnosed with her inguinal hernia, the medical system over in the US, I can't remember whether it was through insurance or through Medicare or Medicaid, I think it is. But basically, 2 weeks later, she had the operation for the inguinal hernia, from which she is now recovering. And it's quite funny because Dr.
The operation in 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks,
yeah. And that's through in America, yeah.
Whereas full well in the UK, when you do finally see that consultant, you've still got another 6 months to wait.
If not more. Basically, just give a bit of background. I was aware that I was getting a hernia in 2018 because every time I coughed, I could feel something giving in that area.
Yes.
But it never popped out until September 22. And I went and saw the doctor and they said, that's not big enough for us to bother about. But it's now grown in size and spread. So I did eventually cave in on September the 3rd. day after my 60th birthday and went and saw my doctor. He said, yeah, that's grown. He said that it's very different from what your previous surgery described. So he said, I'm going to refer you. So I thought, oh, maybe by Christmas I'll have it done. Oh, yeah, right. I've heard nothing since that letter telling me to get stuffed, basically. So for the benefit of our American viewers, like I always do, that people think that our NHS is free, that we don't pay for it. That is utter bollocks, to use the English word, because we pay throughout our lives through our taxes. Yeah, I'm no apologies for using that. It's a very handy word, isn't it? Really. And yeah, so we pay throughout our lives through through our income tax, not our national insurance tax, for our pensions. So we are customers. We are fully paid up customers, but they treat us as a nuisance, something to get in the way, basically. So yeah, that is the difference. So we are fully paid up customers in our medical service, but they can't be bothered with us. They haven't got the capacity. So that's a sad story. That's a sad contrast. Little funny story. Dr. Kills has had 3 medical surgeries. And Amy and I were talking the other day, and we declared ourselves the inguinal hernia triplets. But that's a nice side thing. But there's, do you know, it's the time's going past. Steph, I think you've been monitoring the chat. I've noticed we've got a few of the Kilts Mighty tribe turn up, a few more of Joe's friend tribe turning up. Do you want to give a few shout outs to who's come?
Thank you. I would love to do some shout outs because if you're watching on John's channel, The Carnivore Teacher, or if you're watching on my channel, I can reply to your comments. But if you're watching on Joe's channel, I can't reply to your comments. And we've had some lovely comments from your community, Joe, and I know we won't be able to get to all of them, but I don't want anyone to think I'm ignoring, but I just don't have the ability to reply to you on here. But I've been reading every message and I'm loving that you're all here. But I do have a few that I can share with you, but I know that we won't get to them all today. And a very important one, Sandy said, is Miss Mary still singing? Very important question here.
Sing hallelujah, come on, get happy, get ready for the judgment day.
Fabulous. No. Fabulous. I loved Miss Mary singing there. Wonderful. She hardly moved her lips. Jonathan at Carnivore Muscle said, I enjoy Joe's bedtime stories and I wish they lasted longer. So there you go, Joe. Kimmy Hicks said, oh, wow, what a wild, crazy, but totally typical story of what so many of us have experienced. Never a true word said.
So true. And
Himani's made lots of lovely comments. So I just want to say thank you so much. I liked this one, obviously.
That one was always going to get airtime.
Yeah, thanks, Himani. Appreciate the love. And Jonathan at Carnivore Muscle said these GLP-1s are some of the best medications ever made. I don't think the carnivore community as a whole truly understands that.
If I can just comment on that comment, please, Steph. I think Jonathan's absolutely right. This is one of the reasons why when I first met Joe, I was very keen for Joe to come on to Carnivore Sunday School because I wanted to hear from somebody who's had success on GLP-1s. And just as a follow-on to that, I know amongst the Kilts Mighty tribe, I won't name names here, but we've one of our coaches has had did exactly the same thing. He started on a GLP-1 and had great success, and has now done that transition to where he is off them. And a couple of other coaches have had started with them, and Dr. Nelson is not far from averse to actually starting people on GLP-1s, monitoring very closely, and then transitioning off when the time comes. So even though we in the carnivore community might have a bit of a reputation as being, oh no, the GLP-1s are bad, that's not 100% the case. As Jonathan says, they're misunderstood. And basically, I think that what Joe's done to that, and my story about Deb, my beautician, I think that shows that they're managed correctly and from the right sources, they are a valid tool in the battle to return to health. So so we've got 15 minutes to go. So Steph, you want to carry on with what you're doing? I've got one more thing I want to ask Joe before we start wrapping up.
Okay, well, I'll only be another few minutes. So Jonathan at Carnivore Muscle asked, how are you feeling after your dry fast? And if you want to find out a little bit more about this, follow me on Instagram at Happy Sexy Health. I'll put the link in the chat in a minute. Because I've been doing this dry fast and I have tried it before, and it's no food and no water, which I know sounds absolutely crazy, and I would have agreed with you. But there's a book about it. I've got it here with me, but I don't have it in arm's reach. But it says that when you don't drink water, your body creates water by burning your fat. Normally your body hangs onto your fat, but then it'll burn the fat to create the water inside the body. So, you go into a very deep level of autophagy. That means clearing out any bad cells. So because I've got cancer, it's a very therapeutic. We all know that water fasting is very therapeutic for cancer. It's been shown to stop the tumors from growing or to actually shrink the tumors. And dry fasting is even better. And I'm now 97 hours in, which is unbelievable to me, because the first time I tried it, I thought, how do people do this for days? I only managed 24 hours, and it was a stretch. And then the next time I tried it, I did 2 a day. And then this time I've tried it, I've got up to 4. I'm at 4 days at the moment, and I'm actually going to do another day, even though I'm absolutely, I am thirsty. Some people say they're not thirsty. I am thirsty now. But the main benefits come after the first couple of days. So in days 3, 4, 5 and beyond. So I thought if I can just do another day, I can get more of the benefits. But it's absolutely incredible, because I just want to just quickly say about my ketones. So when you go into this level of autophagy, you're in a higher level of ketosis called a therapeutic level of ketosis. And I bought myself one of these, and I brought it on holiday with me. I'm putting it the wrong direction. It's a Keto Mojo. And then you've got this little, it comes in a little case. Anyway, you can measure your blood sugar and your ketones. And so after 15 hours on it, so less than half a day, just over half a day, my blood sugar was 5.1. Oh, I haven't got your translations for America. Just a minute. My blood sugar, I think that's about 100-ish. I'm not sure.
They do recognise 5.1 because we've been seeing people with 5.6 from type 2 diabetics to 5.6. So 5.1 is incredible.
It's just like normal,
Oh, of course, because as you say, you're non-diabetic.
Yeah. And so 1.1, it was my ketones, just half a day in. My ketones were 1.1 and my glucose ketones index was 4.6. Then today, just before this call, I'm now 4 days in, just over 4 days in. So it's 97 hours. And now my blood sugar is 3.9. And in American, that's 70.2. So my blood sugar was 3.9, aka 70.2. My ketones, guess what my ketones were after 4 days on a dry fast? No food, no water. 5.
It was 5.
I was going to say 5, but I didn't think that was
hang
possible.
on a minute. 5.8 was my ketones.
God, that's nearly 6.
And my glucose ketones index was 0.6. Anything under 2 means you're in this therapeutic levels. It was 0.6. So that was today. Brilliant. I'm going to do one more day and then come off it. And the weight loss,
one more day?
I'm going to do one more day because 5 days is like, I just feel like I want to have that 5 days. Anyway, the weight loss is kind of crazy as well because I didn't, especially have weight to lose. But how much do you think the weight loss is in 4 days of a dry fast?
7 pounds.
Oh, George. Yes. 7. Yes, 7 pounds. So I lost 7 pounds in 4 days doing this.
I know I've done wet fasting before, so I know roughly what you can expect to lose on a 4-day fast. So that's the reason why I got it right, basically. That's amazing.
So,
Right, Steph, go on. I need to jump in on your behalf in a second, but you carry on.
Okay, well, that was all I had. Imani says, yes, the black market selling of these meds needs to stop. And Dr. Berry, Target Primary has said, Dr. Berry has talked a few times about how fatty tongue being a factor of sleep apnea, and that could be the issue, Joe. And now I'm going to hand back to you because I know you've got a few things before.
I just need to actually add to what you said, Steph, because you are always too modest to talk about your conversation with Professor Thomas Seyfried on Zoom.
Yeah.
To which I was an astounded observer, I suppose. You might have seen my face on the screen when Steph said that she was down to 0.6 GKI, because that is utterly amazing. Right, I witnessed that phone call between, that conversation between Professor Thomas Seyfried and Stephanie, and he was talking about the GKI, and basically Steph said that she was averaging at that time, because she was measuring 1.6 GKI, glucose ketone index, which is firmly in what Steph calls a therapeutic range. However, Professor Thomas Seyfried took it a stage further. He said, if you can average below 2 GKI, he said, you are killing tumor cells. He said, you are starving them to death. You are killing them.
Wow.
Which is obviously why my face was amazed when she said she's only 0.6. So yeah, if Professor Seyfried is right, and if there is one man I trust in the world on cancer, it's Professor Thomas Seyfried, then all I can say is, Steph, you're knocking it out of the park.
I hope so, George, because the cancer that I've got, even though I'm feeling amazing, the tumors are still there. Yeah. And so that's obviously worrying. And they're quite, this type of cancer, it's one of those where it's known for recurrences.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I have already had a recurrence. So I'm very keen to try new things so that I don't have any further recurrences, because it's a bit of a nightmare. You can't wear a bikini when you look, well, you can, I suppose, when you look 9 months pregnant, but that's what happens when I go into a recurrence.
I mean, we could go further. We could go further down this route and talk about Lainey, who's doing exactly the same as you. Joe, you want to jump in here, I can tell.
I did. I wanted to just say as well that you're doing it for therapeutic reasons. Yes. This isn't something that we just want people to be doing just because they want to get into a bikini. It's really important. We're not advocating for this is a way to lose weight. It's therapeutic, specifically to help you with the cancer growth, isn't it?
And also, how I think the average person can use this is as an intermittent situation, because it is good for us to dry fast, i.e. have nothing going in your mouth. No food and no water. So we're already doing this while we're asleep. I know what you're thinking, Joe. I can see what you like to put in your mouth, but we won't go there. We will continue on with this. I don't know why you're looking like that, George. I don't know why you're looking like that, George. She had the love heart on earlier. That's all I was talking about. Anyway.
You've got to understand, ladies, I am surrounded by two of the most beautiful women in the world, and you're starting to, and it's kind of blowing my mind a bit. It was hard enough when I first I thought, oh no, God, I hope they don't start talking. Anyway, let's carry on.
That's why I put you in the middle, George.
I thought, I thought you would do.
Anyway, so I think most people, instead of drinking water all day and night and then only having a dry fasting period when they're in bed asleep, what you can do is stop eating. We all as carnivores, low carbers, we stop eating at a certain time. We have so many meals a day and we stop eating. What we can do is stop drinking at a certain time, because that is very healing for the gut when you need to breathe through your mouth, so you're not breathing through, breathe through your nose, so you're not breathing through your mouth. And there's some advice in the book, this dry fasting book that I've read, it's like, keep your mouth shut. And it's such good advice, because when you keep your mouth closed, you don't feel like eating and drinking as much. It's just, sometimes when I feel thirsty or something, I just think to myself, and keep my mouth closed. Anyway, so I think if people say you go to bed at 11, maybe at 10 you can stop, or 9, or 8.
Right.
I'm not saying get dehydrated. What I'm saying is drink your water during the day. And if you feel and have your off time that you stop drinking water or you stop drinking it altogether, go to bed. And if you felt thirsty that day, the following day, just drink a bit more.
So it's a bit like me doing my 1 meal a day, isn't it? You get all the water that you need for the day in that time, and then stop drinking for the rest. Right. Oh, I get you now. That makes sense.
Right.
It's very healing. It creates autophagy and things, because when you're putting water in, your body, it stimulates your digestive system, even though it's not, it is nutrient in one sense. It does nourish us, but it stimulates your digestive system, even if it's only water. So that's the thing I've learned. And also they told us not to think about thirst. If you're thirsty, it's too late. But I don't quite believe that, because you can have too little water and you can have too much. And the only way to know what is absolutely right for you is what your body is telling you. So when you are thirsty, that is giving you an indication. And so what I've started doing, even when I'm not on a dry fast, is I eat all my food and I drink all my water within certain hours. And beyond that, I don't eat and drink. And then I just notice, obviously at the beginning, you might get more thirsty, but I just think I'm not going to die at this stage. And I'm going to be drinking tomorrow morning. So then I might just drink a little bit more, and just listen to your body, basically. You're not doing anything stupid like dehydrating yourself deliberately. Just work out what is best for you, but don't eat and drink all day. We know about the eating part, but I think it's important for us to start not drinking all day either.
Right.
Unbelievably, we're coming near the top of the hour, but there is one important part of your story I'd like to hear, Joe, and that is your mobility story, because I've caught some of it on your channel, because you said, I remember you saying at one point you had to be lifted out of your chair by two hefty fellas because you couldn't get up yourself. So I understand that you were basically chair-bound, housebound, but I did catch you on a live one Saturday afternoon when I joined you, when you were actually walking outside in Nottingham, and you were watching some people. So can you tell us a bit about your mobility story, and how and how you've got back outside, basically?
I'll be very quick. Here is Sir Michael. Sir Michael is another one of my significant others. But he's been so vital to my health transformation journey, because now it's the Raynaud's, because of the chronic inflammation that was throughout my body, especially in my hands, but especially in my feet. My feet were just swollen and bruised and so tender, and then trying to carry 351 pounds on top of that, it was not happening. And then, as I say, and then I had all of these problems with blood oxygen and what have you. There was no mobility about me. So just being able to get the sleep, getting the inflammation calmed down, which is what Mounjaro is doing so brilliantly for me. And as I say, and starting to do more strength training, started from the chair, started just by moving a little bit more. I started with toilet swimming. That's a tale for another time. I saw your face there, George. Tale for another time. But yes, seriously, I'm now getting. I was supposed to be on a mobility scooter, and I was buying a house that was wheelchair adapted. I don't need to do that anymore. And I need to get this house sorted.
Okay, so we're coming to the top of the hour. The headmaster's not here, so while the cat's away, the mice may play. So if you run over for 60 seconds, nobody tell John, okay? So basically what we're going to do now is wrap up. There was a question from Himani as to, isn't George streaming this to his audience? No, I'll tell you for why, and that's I used to, and if I press that button up there, I could do. But what I found was that basically if we split the assets, and it gets very confusing in the chat. Jonathan, bless him. But when it was me and John and Steph all streaming at the same time, he used to use different devices to cover all three of us.
Jonathan, I love it.
But I think it was confusing enough without having me adding to the confusion. So yeah, that's the reason why I don't stream to my particular audience. Plus the fact I only got a very small one, and we all are all the same as we share an audience anyway, so that's no problems. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm good enough for you. I am George Good Enough on Facebook. I don't do Instagram or TikTok or any of the others, so it's basically Facebook and YouTube. Very active on both. I'm going to hand over to Steph now to tell hers, and we're going to go to Joe. Then we're going to come back to me and say good night. So, Steph, do you want to tell the folks about your
what a fabulous stream tonight, Joe. It's just been incredible hearing your story, feeling your energy, being here with my curly twin. It's been fabulous. And I've had so much fun in the comments as well. My only thing was I can't reply on Joe's channel, unfortunately. I've only got my channel and John's channel. And you have such an amazing community, Joe, with such amazing comments. So I just want you all to know it was amazing to see you all here. And any of you who would like to come on the show, we are looking for some guests for December and for January. So if you would like to come on the show, then please email me or message me on Instagram. I'll put my link above. It's Happy Sexy Health on Instagram. And it's the easy one is hello@happysexyhealth.com is the email. And then you can come and join us and tell your stories because, oh dear, who was it said? Somebody said they've got a bikini story. I think that was Angela. So we need you to come and share your bikini story.
We need to hear that story, Angela.
Okay.
George.
Yeah. Joe, it's your turn to tell the viewers where they can find you. And then I've got one more thing to say after that, but you carry on.
I'm Joe Sleep and Slim Down Journey. You can see my name just below the image there. Many of you already, I know. I cannot wait to get to know more of you from the Carnivore community, from George and Steph's channel. I've been sharing both of your YouTube links in my chat, so I really hope that you've my subscribers that are on, I hope you've had a chance to connect with Steph and George as well. Fabulous channels. There's some really good content on both channels, and really strong emphasis on health, which is what so many of us are in the GLP-1 community. And just finally, because Jonathan from Carnivore Muscle mentioned it, I have just released Joe's Auntie Joe's bedtime stories, which are little children's bedtime poems that I've read, that I've written, and now I'm reading them out. So that's another channel that you might be interested in checking out, especially if you've got any young'uns in the family.
Absolutely. My final thought tonight is Billy Ocean, Eat Your Heart Out, because you sang about a Caribbean queen. I find myself sandwiched between two wonderful Caribbean queens. On that note, back to you, Steph, to actually press the red button and to say goodnight.
Oh, thank you. I feel like bursting into song, but I'm not going to. Because you guys, yeah, because you're sharing the same dream, things like that. Anyway, I don't want to make people feel bad about their singing because we're so good, obviously. But thanks, guys, for being with us tonight. It's been amazing. Thanks, Joe, for being on, and George for being such a fabulous host. And that's it from us this week. The school secretary signing out.